This is Rod Mead-Sperry of the Shambhala Sun, and I'm here with Dr. Stuart Lord, president of Naropa University, and we're at the Wisdom 2.0 conference in Silicon Valley. And first of all, thanks for stopping and talking with me.
Thank you.
I wanted to ask you, being that you're the president of a contemplative university, what your response and reaction is to this conference, which is all about merging technology and wisdom, and how it falls in line with what Naropa is trying to teach.
Well, I think this conference is very important because it's really investigating how do you work with all the technology, Facebook, Twitter, whatever, how do you work with them with a sense of consciousness? How do we ground ourselves with being busy in the world and being distracted in the world, but also how do we find spaces that cut through some of that and then return to what it really means to be present? And how do you develop a sense of presence, a sense of mindfulness, and a sense of greater compassion? So if Twitter and all and technology is becoming so much advanced and so many people are being engaged in that, I think what's wonderful thing that I'm excited about is that when you have millions of people being engaged in this technology, that they can be also, there's that question mark on returning back to something that's inside of all of us, which is this capacity to be present. And how can technology remind us of that and call forth that out of us? And so I think people in this workshop, they've been exploring that question, is, how do I show up at work and give all that I have, but also cultivate something else that is the inner technology, the inner wisdom, the inner sort of compassion. So there's this outer, the skills of technology, which is the outer. And so we can cultivate the outer wisdom, but never at the expense of cultivating the inner wisdom.
Sure.
And I think that's what this conference is raising that question. Not that we have figured out how, but I think the question is so vitally important, that wisdom that we're going to tap into, which is the inner wisdom.
Is there any lesson that you learned here that you found surprising, or that you found that you might apply personally, or that you might apply on an administrative level at Naropa?
Well, I think so many people would assume that mindfulness and being present in the workplace, as it relates to technology, people would assume there's a gap. I think we hosted a conference at Naropa, which was a couple months ago. We had a Wisdom 2.0 conference. And I think our capacity to connect with this dialogue, which is very contemporary, our students are begging for this. Our students are having this kind of conversation among themselves, whether it's on the green or in the cafeteria. And I think what I see Naropa being able to do is have this conversation greater, not just with students, but with faculty members. And I'd love an opportunity. I've talked to several speakers here who said they'd be willing to come to Naropa and engage this conversation right there with our students and faculty. So the exciting thing is that the speakers from this conference will be on our campus in the next couple of years or next couple of months.
Bringing these lessons
bringing
to
these
education.
Lessons right to our campus. Since we are, the premier Buddhist institution, that it makes a lot of sense for us to not have this conversation happen other places and not create that bridge. So I think our campus can create a bridge with this kind of conversation.
Great, that's wonderful. Thank you for talking to me.
Thank you.
Enjoyed it.
Appreciate it.